Newsmaker show. This is a press call that we have in this half hour. It's with New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand along with Senator Cory Booker and Senator Bob Menendez. They're both from New Jersey. They're talking here about a bill they're trying to get passed in Congress called the Safeguarding America's First Responders Act. That would make it so that family members of first responders and public safety officers are taken care of if the public safety officers die from COVID-19. Senator Schumer was a part of this legislation, but he was not on the press call. Anyway, here we go. We start on this media call here with Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey.
Thanks so much. We're going to have five very quick speakers, myself, Senator Bob Menendez, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, Pat Colligan, who's the PBA president in New Jersey, as well as Ed Donnelly, who's the FMBA president in New Jersey. But we know amongst the many tragic consequences of the coronavirus pandemic has been the enormous strain it's put on our first responders, especially in places like New York and New Jersey that have been hit the hardest. But yet, despite the risks, day after day, our firefighters, EMTs, police officers are risking their lives every day to protect people from the threat of COVID-19 and save their lives. Many have already made the ultimate sacrifice. Public Safety Officers Benefits Program, or PSOB, provides death benefits and educational benefits to the survivors of law enforcement officers, firefighters, EMS, and other first responders who are killed in the line of duty. Infectious diseases actually are covered under the program, but the officer's family has a burden of proof. They must provide evidence that the disease was contracted while on duty. And providing evidence like that seems straightforward, but coming into contact with a dirty needle might be something that's clear. When it comes to infectious diseases, particularly with COVID-19, it is an entirely different kind of threat. How do you prove your illness was contracted in the line of duty when COVID is such an elusive threat, when testing is not widespread, and when there are many unanswered questions about how it can spread? There is an obvious and urgent need to make changes to the PSOB program to reflect the unique threat that COVID-19 poses to first responders putting their lives on the line every day of this crisis. That's why I'm proud to be announcing today with my colleagues a new bipartisan effort to make certain the families of our fallen heroes get the benefits they are rightfully owed. In short, our legislation will create a presumption that if a first responder contracts COVID-19 during the pandemic and tragically dies, their death will be treated as a line-of-duty incident without the need to affirmatively prove their illness was contracted while on the job. When passed, this presumption would be retroactively effective January 1st, 2020, and last initially under this legislation for 2 years. Again, in my early conversations on this with Senator Grassley working on this issue, in my early work with Senator Grassley on this issue, we knew that there was an underlying urgency, and in New Jersey, we felt this very, very, very painfully. Families of first responders have been lost around our state, and I think first and foremost of Passaic firefighter and EMT Israel Tolentino, who passed away from COVID on March 31st, making that the first death of a New Jersey first responder. Not only is making this change the right thing to do, it's the least we can do to give the people putting their lives on the line to protect us, giving them some reassurance. And certainly during this uncertain time, this is really critical. With that, I want to invite my senior senator and partner on so much of our work during this crisis, Bob Menendez.
Thank you, Cory. Let me thank you for your incredibly important leadership. These are unprecedented times. Our public safety officers, police, fire, and EMS are on the front lines in the fight against COVID-19. They're leaving the safety of their homes and the comfort of their families each day to face an invisible enemy. They're working 24 hours a day within our communities and putting themselves at increased risk of a deadly infection. Our first responders need to know that we have their backs just as they have ours. They and their families deserve the peace of mind of knowing that if they get sick, if the virus takes hold, that they will be taken care of should they become disabled or, God forbid, die from the virus. It's the least we can do as a nation after asking these brave men and women to step up and put themselves at risk in the midst of a public health crisis. Tragically, New Jersey has already lost 27 public safety officers to COVID-19. They're true heroes, and my heart goes out to each and every one of their families. But I refuse to put them through the pain of trying to prove to some office bureaucrat when exactly their loved one got infected. That's what happened to the families of our 9/11 heroes who mysteriously came down with various cancers from exposure to the toxic brew at Ground Zero. I worked with others and helped lead the effort in Congress to correct that injustice, and that's what we're stepping up to do now. If you're a first responder on the front lines of the COVID-19 fight, risking your personal health and safety to protect us all, that's good enough for me. And if you make that ultimate sacrifice from the coronavirus, your family deserves nothing less than the full benefits for dying in the line of duty. One final point. In New Jersey, trained paramedic units are often run by private hospital or ambulance corps, and while they share in the sacrifice of our public safety officers, the current program excludes them from eligibility for in-the-line-of-duty benefits. At least 2 of New Jersey's fallen coronavirus heroes fall in that category, and I think that's just wrong. As we work towards a coronavirus 4 package, I'll be fighting in the Senate to ensure they are included in any COVID-19 related eligibility. Standing up for first responders takes more than just saluting them during a parade. Truly standing up for our heroes means ensuring they and their families are taken care of for putting themselves on the line to help us all. So, Corey, again, thank you. It's great to be working with you and Kirsten and Senator Grassley, and I'm sure others, to make this happen.
Thank you so much, Senator. And as you said, Kirsten has a very deserved, Senator Gillibrand has a very deserved reputation as a champion of first responders, and I'm grateful that she, too, is partnering on this legislation. And now, Senator Gillibrand, if you'll give a few words.
Thank you so much, Senator Booker, for your leadership. Thank you to Senator Menendez for your leadership. I feel very blessed to get to work with both of you. It's a real joy, especially to stand again for our first responders. I also want to thank Pat Colligan, the president of the New Jersey State Policemen's Benevolent Association, and Ed Donnelly, president of the New Jersey Firefighters Mutual Benevolent Association, for being with us as well. I agree with both of you that our public safety officers put their own health and lives on the line to keep our community safe. Keeping our community safe during the pandemic means that public safety officers and first responders are unable to socially distance or work from home. Now, more than ever, they are truly on the front lines in our communities. Let's be very clear. Public safety officers are being exposed to the coronavirus. They are getting sick, and they are dying. The NYPD alone has lost more than 30 officers to this pandemic. However, the lack of testing and the lack of clarity on how the disease spreads and affects the body means that many officers won't have clear medical records that prove they contracted COVID-19 while on duty. Under the current system, without that record, they might not be eligible for the Public Safety Officers Benefits Program, which provides a lump sum payment or education assistance for the spouses and children of officers killed in the line of duty. The lack of testing and information cannot create another layer of red tape for these families. We have seen firsthand how difficult it was for our 9/11 first responders and their families to get the benefits they deserved. They had to fight for almost 20 years to secure permanent funding for the September 11 Victim Compensation Fund. That cannot happen again. The Safeguarding America's First Responders Act will ensure it doesn't. This bill would establish a clear framework for these claims and ensure that officers who fall victim to COVID-19 receive the benefits they are owed. The bill would create the presumption that if a first responder is diagnosed with COVID-19 within 45 days of their last day on duty, the Department of Justice will treat it as a line-of-duty incident. taking the onus off of the grieving families. It would also guarantee benefits to any first responder who dies from COVID-19 or complications from COVID-19. Nothing will make these officers' families whole again, but this bill will go a long way toward recognizing the sacrifice these officers made for our safety and ensuring that families have the resources they need. Senator Grassley and I worked together last year to pass a similar law to improve access to assistance for first responders permanently disabled in the line of duty. That bill passed the Senate unanimously. So I am very, very proud to be co-sponsoring this new bill, and I hope that all of our colleagues once again join us in supporting it. These frontline heroes have stepped up for our country when we needed them, and now our country needs to step up for them. Thank you, everyone, for being on the call.
Thank you so much, Senator.
On the Newsmaker show, we're playing back a press call from this week with Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, Senator Cory Booker. It's mostly Senator Cory Booker. Senator Bob Menendez, also from New Jersey, is on there. We're going to hear some more from the press call coming up in just a moment. And don't forget, Sheriff Jim Mallard coming up at 8:30 here on Newsmaker. Stay with us.
Mullen Factory Direct Floor Covering has been serving this area for many years. During life's ups and downs, we've never quite experienced anything like this. There's no official day or time set for us all to go back to business as usual, but Mullins wants you to know they're there for you and your flooring projects. And it's also a good time to say thanks to all the loyal customers and remind you to support all area local small businesses to help them stay afloat during this unprecedented time. Be safe and stay healthy. From your friends at Mullen Factory Direct Floor Covering in Almond.
Back on Newsmaker, I'm Brian O'Neill, and we're hearing a media call from this week with Senator Cory Booker, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. The legislation is being led by Booker and Senator Chuck Grassley, the Iowa Republican, although Senator Ted Cruz is on it, and so is Connecticut Senator Blumenthal. Both parties working across the aisles here, and what they're trying to do is make sure that anyone who's a first responder or a public safety officer who dies from COVID-19, that their families are taken care of. Continuing with the press conference here, Senator Booker introduces the next speaker.
And next up is Patrick Colligan, who again serves as the president of the New Jersey State Policeman Benevolent Association. Prior to that, he was a 23-year officer with Franklin Township's Police Department and was a delegate and leader for Local 154, the Township chapter of the union. He is an extraordinary leader throughout our state for the well-being and strength of our police officers, and I'm just grateful he's on the call. Patrick?
Senator, I'm sorry. This is Mark Kovar, the ex-vice president. Pat got tied up at the last minute. We had a little incident that happened, and he had to deal with it, so I jumped on the call for him. This is I just want to, from our bottom of our hearts, for all of our members, we truly, like you've said before, with 9/11, I can't thank you enough for doing this for our members, because after what we went through for 9/11, fighting, like you said, for 20 years, literally, and this is what we need, really, especially for the members who passed. So we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for everything you're doing for us.
Well, I'm grateful. Thank you so much for representing Patrick, and I hope all is well as you guys are continuing to lead during difficult times. And that brings up Ed Donnelly, who currently serves as the president of New Jersey Firefighters Mutual Benevolent Association, which represents over 107 locals and over 5,000 career personnel. And in addition to his role with the New Jersey FMBA, he serves as a firefighter with the Union Fire Department, where he has been a member for almost 20 years. Ed, thank you for being on, and we welcome the opportunity to hear from you now.
Senator, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to take this call. Senator Menendez, thank you for your staunch support as well. Senator Gillibrand, your reputation speaks for itself in regards to first responders, so thank you for being here also. My brother, Mark Kovar, hope all is well over there. Senator, listen, our FMBA represents Izzy Tolentino, who was the first responder in New Jersey to pass, unfortunately, from the COVID virus. And, on behalf of his wife, Maria, his children, his family, the over 5,000 members that we represent, we want to say thank you. Our members are out there on the street fighting the fight to keep our residents here in New Jersey as safe and as healthy as we can. And it is reassuring to have our New Jersey delegation with Senator Booker in the lead putting forth this partisan bill to make sure that it's done in a real way, that we can have support on both sides of the aisle. This can pass through both houses and ultimately be signed by our president for a piece of legislation, changes to a PSOB benefit that are vitally needed for our members. We all know that this disease is killing firefighters, police officers, EMTs, paramedics, as Senator Menendez said. Vitally important for our members, and I thank you all for fighting in the halls of Congress for your first responders, and we will continue to be the front lines here in New Jersey to make sure that our residents continue to be as safe and as healthy as possible. So thank you again.
Wonderful. Thank you very, very much. And, Jeff, you can open up for questions if you like.
Great. We'll pause for a moment to collect questions.
Yes, thanks for doing the call. The question I have is, Senator Gillibrand, you know better than anybody else, you had veto-proof majorities for the Zed-Roger Act in both the House and Senate, and yet for years the people leading the Senate and House wouldn't bring it up for a vote. What assurances do you have that this is going to pass this time around?
So I can just say we don't have assurances, but we're going to fight really hard. And, with the Zed-Roger Act, what made the difference was the advocates started coming to Washington and came week after week, month after month, and walked the halls and met with senators. And their advocacy really ultimately carried the day. But it did take us advocacy. It took two straight years of advocacy. But I believe, given the momentum we've had with Zed-Roger and the momentum we just had in the most recent bill we passed, and with the great bipartisan effort that Senator Menendez and Senator Booker made, that they're in a perfect place to push this over the finish line. They've already done the hard work of getting lots of Republicans.
And I would just echo that and agree that, frankly, we have a lot of assurance and confidence from Senator Chuck Grassley's partnership, as well as a lot of the bipartisan folks that are coming together to get this done on the Senate side. And we're working with folks on the House side. So Senator Gillibrand says it's going to be obviously a fight and a lot of hard work, but I have a lot of confidence that we can get this done, especially given all that's going on with this crisis, this COVID crisis.
Our next question goes to Maria Santana at CNN. Maria?
Yeah, hi. How are you? Good afternoon. First of all, I want to say thank you for doing this. To all of you, I spent a whole weekend learning all about Israel Tolentino and what he meant to his community and all the work that he did for everybody, and speaking to his wife to learn more about him. And I know that this means a lot to her and to his family. And to all the families of first responders. So I just have a couple of things I wanted to clear up. So Senator Booker, you said that if the bill is passed, that it would be retroactively be applied starting January 2020, and then for 2 years afterwards. From 2 years after what? After January 2020 is after there's a sense that the crisis is over. And then the other thing I just want a little bit of clarity on is Senator Gillibrand mentioned that if someone is diagnosed with the virus after a certain amount of time from their last shift, and I kind of missed what that period of time was, so if you could just let me know.
45 days.
And 45 days. Okay, thank you so much. And,
so if you work 45 days,
it's
a generous timeline, so it doesn't have to be immediate.
Right.
Yeah, and 2 years takes us to the December 31st, 2021, and if there's a need to evaluate after that, I'm sure we will.
Okay, and do you have a time frame of when it might be, you think it might be introduced in the Senate, or you're still working through that?
Well, we're announcing the introduction today, and we're hoping to get this. We're hoping to get this bill voted on, perhaps be a part of the next package, if not before. And I know that Chuck Grassley is going to move it to our committee to work up this the bill as soon as possible. So we're hoping actually to pass it out of committee this week, and we're aiming to get it to the floor as soon as possible.
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much.
Great. Our next question goes to Brian O'Neill with WLEA. Brian?
Hi. Thank you. And this question for Senator Gillibrand, just double-checking here. This is for families of police, fire, and ambulance. Is that correct?
I don't know if we lost Senator Gillibrand, but yes, that's correct.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Sorry, what was the question?
Thanks. This is for police, fire, and ambulance families. I just
answered
wanted
it,
to double
right,
check that fact.
I did, too.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, it includes the EMT as well, people on ambulances.
Yes.
And that would be paramedics, too, I'm guessing?
Yeah, paramedics, even corrections officers. There's a
You just have to be a public employee. Yeah, the definitions come under whether you're a public employee.
That's why Senator Menendez made a very, very good point, which is that there are some in New Jersey, as we've seen, people that are part of private companies, and we're going to try to fight, obviously, something that we would like to see included. But it does cover volunteers, and as New Jersey does have a lot of volunteer fire departments, and I think upstate New York does as well.
We do, yeah, in upstate as well. Yep.
Yeah, so it covers them as well, public employee or volunteer.
Thank you.
All right, our next and final question will go to Samantha Maldonado at Politico. Samantha?
Yes, hi. Thanks for holding this. I hate to be the person to ask this question, but do we have a cost estimate for how much this might cost?
Well, we don't know because we're hoping that not a lot of people die from COVID. We've already lost 30 in New York City, so it's we're hoping it costs less and not more. But this is the kind of thing that we should pay forward because, again, they're the ones who are risking their lives. And this would normally be covered anyway. Any disease in the line of in the line of service. You know, the typical example would be you got stuck by a needle that had disease on it when you were arresting a drug dealer. That is covered, but we don't know how you got the COVID at what exact time, and so we just want a presumption that you got it from work. So this is the kind of thing that should normally be covered anyway. So we're hoping it costs less, not more.
Thank you. Kirsten. That's right. That's spot on. And what is a very, very small amount given the large expenditures by the federal government, but for the families that receive it, it's literally an essential bridge for them in their crisis. And I want to close out now. I want to thank Senator Gillibrand. I want to thank Senator Menendez. Their partnerships are so extraordinary. And I just want to thank, obviously, our representatives from FMBA and from the PBA, the two great leaders from our state and great organizations. And so we're very, very grateful and looking forward to continuing to work with you. So thank you so much, Mark, for standing in. And obviously, thank you, Ed.
You're welcome. Thank you.
God bless everyone. Stay safe. Thank you for being on the call.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Corey.
And that wraps things up for that media call with Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, Senator Cory Booker, Senator Bob Menendez, and there were some other speakers in there, mostly New Jersey first responders. It's AM 1480 WLEA. We've got a interview coming up with Steuben County Sheriff Jim Allard. Stay with us.